Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Today I'm joined by Witek, the CTO of Enjin. Enjin is a community's website for gaming, and they're going to launch a new coin called Enjin Coin. Before we talk about that, let's get to know Witek a little bit. So Witek, how did you know about cryptocurrencies?
Hey, I've actually heard about it back in 2010 or 2011. I'm a big futurist, crown assist, and all sorts of futurist things. And a lot of people in the futurist community in Vancouver were talking about Bitcoin back in 2010, 2011.
That's very early. So are you a millionaire by now?
No, actually, in the first days, I sort of looked at it. I looked at the forums and things, and I was like, "Oh, this is interesting." But I didn't even go to a faucet. I kind of wish I,
Faucets
yeah,
were giving 5 Bitcoins back in the day.
I know it's crazy. I did some played around with mining a little bit. I remember there was a lot of early coins like I played around with Litecoin and China Coin and all sorts of little experimental ones back in the day. But yeah, the idea stuck in my head since about 2010.
Oh, wow, that's very early. And can you tell me a little bit about Enjin as well? What is Enjin right now as a current state?
So Enjin is a community creation platform for gamers. We have 18 million users and hundreds of thousands of gaming communities. And it basically lets gamers create their own website that has all the tools you need to manage your community, forums. We have plugins for Minecraft where people already do like virtual item management, and it's a whole social solution. So we've been around for 9 years, and we support all games.
That's a long time. And in terms of Minecraft, I think, are you guys focused on Minecraft, or do a lot of users come from Minecraft? Because I saw a lot of Minecraft stuff on your page.
Yeah, a lot of our users are Minecraft users. We do have like every game using our platform. We have a lot of multi-gaming communities, but Minecraft specifically use our plugin, and we have a shopping platform where users can basically purchase items and get them in game. They can even make in-game purchases with the plugin. So.
Oh wow, so they can make the purchase outside of the game and actually receive it in game.
Yeah, even they can even do it in the game now with our GUI plugin for Minecraft. So they can go in there and get the items as they're playing. So.
Oh, cool. So now, what made you want to start your own coin, this Enjin Coin? What was the inspiration behind it?
Well, I think that this is a long overdue thing for gaming. I think crypto and gaming are like made for each other, because if you think about the gaming worlds, the virtual worlds, the adoption there it's so easy to build things in virtual worlds to accept crypto and to use crypto. And Enjin Coin is kind of unique because we're trying to do like the whole solution for a gaming currency. We're trying to make it really easy to use. Like we want people to be able to create virtual items, get them when they're in the game, trade them in game, receive them, and they'll also be able to take those items outside of the game, put them into, they could potentially even use them across multiple gaming servers. They can trade them outside of the game and have full ownership of those gaming items. So it's something that doesn't really exist really well today. It's not really been done properly.
Yeah, and I mean, we had problems before. I was talking about this because I was a big Diablo 2 fan back in the day, and there
Yeah.
was always problems with item duping, where or just duping gold even. They find some creative hackers will find a way to just duplicate an item somehow, and it just becomes a huge pain. You know, recently we
Do you
did
remember?
saw.
Sorry, do you remember the stones of Jordan you had to drop on the
Yes.
ground? That like really ghetto way of trading.
Yes, the SOJs, exactly.
Yeah,
That back in the days, those were the currency of Diablo 2. I mean,
yeah, yeah.
that was so fun. And they kind of did something different for Diablo 3, which is they had a market built into the game, but it wasn't very successful. But what was successful was, of course, the item management system. They actually, you were no longer able to duplicate items in Diablo 3. I think that was the case. The technology got so much better. Is that expensive to do, like to actually maintain a database like that? Like that's one of the things I was always wondering, like to maintain item databases, is that very expensive or not?
I don't think game developers in general have the resources to do this in games properly. You have some few experimental attempts at doing items, but I don't really think most game developers are focused on doing this. So they'd rather just not deal with the hassle and sort of just focus on, you know, the game itself. So that's why I think we're going to be focusing all our energies on creating the ultimate item platform.
Okay, so with this item platform, you can plug it into games. So are you supporting any of the common game engines out right now?
Yeah, so we want to support, well, first we're going to start with Minecraft plugin and an unturned plugin, because they're the easiest way to get that minimum viable product and get it into the hands of the thousands of communities that already use it. But then we're going to go into Unity right away, because Unity is important. With part of Unity, we're going to develop the C# SDK that could be used with Mono as well. After that, in our roadmap, we want to go into Unreal.
So, okay, so we were talking about integrating into common engines, because right now a lot of indie developers actually use common engine. The game that I'm working on right now as well is it's actually based on Unity 5. And of course, right now there's a lot of developers moving to Unreal as well, because, you know, that's a new hit thing. So it's good to hear that you guys are trying to integrate that into both Unity and Unreal. And of course, starting with Minecraft is what your strengths are, right? Is that how do users create items on Minecraft? This is something I'm actually not familiar with. How can people integrate that? Are you working with the developer, or are you working with communities to create items for that?
Actually, Minecraft has an extremely robust plugin platform. It has multiple things. It has Bucket, well, now Spigot, Sponge, has Forge. So these plugin platforms let people completely mod and customize their servers. I mean, Minecraft is almost like a game creation platform. Every Minecraft server is its own thing. There's like Game of Thrones recreations of the world and everything there. So it's all there to be able to create items. So I think that's the easiest, you know, A/B, just get to having items in the game.
Oh, right. And then, so these will be server specific then. Maybe there's a Game of Thrones server and I can get a Valyrian sword, and that will be distributed by the server itself. And then I can get that, use the engine platform, and kind of own that item. Is that, am I getting that idea right here?
Yeah. So someone could go into the server, they could be playing the game, and then they get that Valyrian sword, and it goes into their wallet, and then they can take that out of the game and trade it with players. Or maybe there's a few Game of Thrones servers out there, and maybe they want to collaborate and sort of support a standard set of items. Then people could jump from one to the other server and keep their inventories, which is kind of interesting.
I see. So it actually relies on a lot of the community itself. So I actually didn't know that Minecraft was so huge on this, but that's quite an interesting way of doing things. So it's all about these server owners collaborating together and hopefully generate a way to do this. Is there any financial incentive for them to create items like this and support and share items?
Well, there's a bunch of incentives. Like, I think as games start getting blockchain items, it's going to be desired by players. That's one thing. So people are going to start looking for games servers that offer these sort of gameplay opportunities. And in terms of financial, I mean, you know, it'll make it really simple and easy to transact. So let's say you want to accept Enjin coins to buy items with. You can do that in game without going to external websites, without checking out and going to PayPal and all this stuff. It'll just be done with a sort of click.
So the game servers, you allow them to accept Enjin coins, which are kind of almost a transfer of value. So they can take value, they can take this virtual currency and use it for themselves, and then they can issue items. Is there a limit to the items they can issue? Because I can foresee there's an inflation on Valyrian swords if people can just print that off.
Yeah, so we have a system. We have two economists on our team that are sort of helping us make this perfect. So the simple way to do this is you have to commit Enjin coins to create items, right? And the more items you create, the more you have to pay up front to create that limited amount. So you can say there's only going to be 100 Valyrian swords ever created, and that will cost a certain amount of Enjin coin. Now, as you increase the number of items that are created, the minimum cost that you can spend goes down. So it's sort of like an economy of scale. So you could say you can create one sword that can ever be created, and the minimum you can put into that is 1 Enjin coin. But if you say make 100 of them, you might only need to spend 20 Enjin coin to create those 100. So the cost, the minimum cost you can spend to create those coins goes down as the divisibility increases.
So basically, the server owners won't be able to print money, basically.
No, they won't. No, so that ensures, gives you some insurance against that. Yeah.
I see. And if people want to work together, can they set up standard pricing? Like if these servers owners are trying to work together, can they set up standard pricing for this, or must it be something very specific?
I guess it really depends on the server owners or the game developers to figure out what reserve they want to put into the items. I mean, you could say you could create a game with a really valuable rare item, and you could just feed it like 500 Enjin coins, and that'll be like extremely desired item. Because another feature of these items is that you can melt them down. You can basically melt them down, and you receive the Enjin coin that was inside that item. So any player holding one of these swords that has a value of, say, 20 Enjin coin can actually melt it down and receive the Enjin coin. And then the game creator can actually put that reserve value back in and receive another one to sell or distribute in the server.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, if I'm a game developer and I create, say, the Valerian sword, so let's say it takes 10 Enjin coin to create it. So I kind of have to receive that 10 Enjin coin from that player. So player has to pay or do something on my server. Then I'll create the item for him. And do I get anything out of this? Like,
I think it'll be more like the game developers are going to commit a certain minimum amount of Enjin coins to create their items. Mm-hmm. But then if they want to sell these items, they'll be selling them for whatever currencies they want to sell them for, but it'll be higher than the reserve. I think the reserve value is more of an insurance, so that, let's say a server gets shut down, something like that, early on, the gamers won't just lose all their items. There's going to be some reserve value that can still be recognized.
Okay, so basically gamers are paying a premium for the item. The game developers can name the premium they want. So that's what's in it for them, right? Because one thing I'm always worried about is what's in it for the developers. I'm a developer myself, and it takes hours, like many hours of not just developer time, but game designer time to design a good system for items. It's one of the biggest problems with game development. It's probably quite easy to make the item in terms of design, in terms of programming, but in terms of design, it takes years even to just think of a good way to actually present these items and not make them very overpowered. It's a super big pain. So basically, there is something for the game, either the server owners or the game developers, in the fact that they can sell these items for a premium. There's a reserve value on the item, so that way there's at least the players have a guarantee, and of course, everything is powered by Enjin Coin and the game economy. Cool. That's a good understanding of things. Now, okay, my next question is this. So now we have the developers covered. We have the players covered, but what about the platforms? Because one of my biggest complaints about these coins is that Steam already has an item distribution system. So on Steam, if you have a PC game and you want to put items and you developers want to create items, it's easy for them to do so. And every time an item is traded, it actually gives the developers a portion of that. And of course, Steam controls everything. So why Enjin Coin over, say, a native platform on Steam?
Well, so you're saying why would they use Enjin Coin when they cannot charge fees for trading?
Or when Steam already offers an option here, like what's the advantage of using this Enjin Coin?
Oh well, the advantages are basically that you still retain full control of the items. You have all the advantages of cryptocurrencies. So I think that there's going to be a different kind of mechanic that forms. You'll have external exchanges between players. You'll have players playing to earn items in games. I think that the fact that you can take it and have full control, it can go into any sort of game that's not controlled by like a centralized Steam platform. I think that's sort of main.
Yeah, and also of course mobile as well, because Steam's not there. So I guess that's possibly one of the reasons. I'm just trying to wrap my head around this because I do have some experience in this background. All right, so let's say you do this. How long would it take to actually have developer kits up for Unity and for Unreal?
So we're working, we have a roadmap on our white paper, and we're looking at Unity early 2018.
Okay, early 2018. Cool. Let me think. Now, next thing is the biggest question, support, because of course, cryptocurrencies right now at its current state is still quite not really user friendly. You have your recovery phrase, they have your password, and if you lose that, then you lose access to your accounts. So, for example, yeah, you completely lose your recovery phrase. Is there any way to deal with that?
Well, in terms of the recovery phrase, I mean, I guess we're going to have to look at ways of ensuring people have covered their bases. I mean, in terms of security in transfers, we have sort of two-factor authentication type of thing. So it's not like a game server will be able to trade items on your behalf or anything like that. But I guess it just comes down to informing the player, guiding them step by step, and making sure that they, print out those seeds and make sure they have, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, because I dealt with tech support for gamers, and it's one of the worst experiences of my life because they're they're panicking. They're maybe their item's lost, and not just the value of the item, but their emotional attachment to an item. WoW accounts. I've dealt with accounts for MMO games before, and players are so attached to their characters, and they want their accounts to be restored. So if it is in the case of accidental, they just got hacked. Is there any way to deal with that? Say their accounts got hacked, now their items are stolen. Can they recover that?
Well, the nice thing about cryptocurrency is it's kind of difficult for you to get hacked unless you distribute your private keys, right? So if you distribute your private keys, there's nothing you can do. But obviously, we want to provide them with some good basis. Like a lot of these hardware wallets have very, you get the 24-word seeds or whatever. You have a password. So the one thing we're trying to do is ease of use. So like we're going to have a mobile app. And most of your interaction with the Enjin Coin platform is you'll receive a transaction request from the server. That'll say, it'll have the details of who you're sending the transaction to and stuff. And you'll hit accept, and that's all you're going to see, right? It's going to be a one-click process. So that's your authentication of being able to send those items. So as long as we keep all the security standardized in the background for the player, I think that's going to be good. It's not going to be being hacked.
I think that's okay. And also it's different from the account, right? So the account and the thing is different because I used to give my account password out so someone can help me pass the level. I know this is super because my skill is not very high. So if there's like a lot of jumping involved, I'm terrible at that. I'll just give that account out.
No. That's definitely. This will protect gamers from being hacked. Like your account can't get hacked and have your items stolen. So that's at least one nice assurance there.
Yeah, that used to be what I did. It's very dumb, but with crypto, because crypto does have this huge disadvantage in the sense that you're very reliant on your private key. So it's good to see that you guys are trying to do something with ease of use because you're trying to break into the majority market. And in fact, once you teach people how to do that, hopefully it'll be good. Hopefully they'll learn, and hopefully they'll have the authentication on a mobile phone or something that can authenticate with that. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you standardize everything and you provide a really easy, simple user interface for that. People are not going to have to mess with, Python scripts or uploading keys or anything manually. It'll all be done. So as long as it's standardized, it's going to be great.
Okay. So can you tell me a little bit about what you're trying to build as well? So in terms of the Enjin Coin, is it its own blockchain? How are the specs for the blockchain, etc.?
Well, currently we're doing it on the Ethereum platform, so it's an ERC20 token. And we are actually playing with the ERC232 design for the custom coins themselves. We're trying to make it scale by having a sort of multi-token transfer feature in there. So like you can basically do a bunch of stuff in the game, and then a lot of tokens get transferred to different sources in that design. So we're working off the ERC232 for the custom coins, and the Enjin token itself is ERC20 standard.
Okay. Does that mean every time I transfer an item, I have to pay the Ethereum gas cost for that?
So that's what we're trying to optimize with this custom coin. So right now there is a gas cost, yes, and we can at least like make that much smaller by, it's sort of like an off-chain, multiple transactions happen, and then you do the multi-transaction. You know, there's a lot of updates coming to Ethereum that we're looking at. We're going to watch how they happen, and you know, Ethereum potentially might be an ERC token itself in the future. So hopefully, you know, the transaction fees will be minimal. I played with the gas costs, and you can actually get them down to like 1/10 of a cent or less.
Okay, 1/10 of a cent for every transaction. I mean, I'm assuming that the items will be quite expensive that you're transferring because they have a reserve value, they have a minimum cost. So, you know, if you're transferring something off like $1 or $2, and you're just paying, you know, a cent or something like that, it's there, but not the end of the world, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, you might not want to use this for stuff like, you know, a sheepskin or whatever it is, right? Like the throwaway items. We'll start with the more valuable things and develop the concepts around it, and then see what we can do.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so probably something like your scrap metal, you will probably wouldn't want that. Yeah. But you'll have your items and your keys, your whatever, your keys for boxes in Team Fortress 2. That would probably be viable. Okay. And also, yeah, we probably read things like what they're having plasma up on Ethereum soon. But of course, these would.
Oh yeah,
excited for that?
Yeah, I am. I love that.
What do you think of plasma, by the way? Is it like? Do you think they can make it? Do you think it's viable?
Well, I think it's. I think MapReduce is a great. It's great for doing processing on the blockchain. So I really hope they can make it work. I know they've promised a lot of things. There's a lot of technology updates coming, and then Plasma is coming now. So I think that the concept would work. We'll see. Okay.
All right. Last question about the tokens. So how many tokens are you planning to distribute, and how much are you trying to raise?
So we are the total number of tokens is 1 billion. And so 800 million are going to be offered for the sales. There's going to be 400 million in the pre-sale, which is on right now, and then another 400 million in the crowd sale, which is on October 3rd. And we're hoping to raise somewhere between 20 to 24 million US.
Okay. And for the team that's developing this, can you tell me a little bit about the team?
Yeah, so a lot of us have been working together for many, many years on Enjin. And there's myself, Maxim, and a few developers, and we have a great advisory team. We just got a guy from BioWare, Pat, he's going to help us a lot with the sort of economic aspects of what game developers want in items. And we're hoping to hire some new developers as we get funded to speed up the development.
Oh, nice, nice. All right, so I think that's good enough for. That's the questions I want to ask. If you want to, do you want to talk about anything else about Enjin Coin in particular?
Other than, you know, what we talked about is just the real basics, but you know, we're building all sorts of cool features in there. Like, okay, we're gonna have an on-chain subscriptions system. So it'll be one of the first times you can actually do real subscriptions, like PayPal-like subscriptions. Because we got that smart wallet, the user will be able to accept a subscription terms, like how much they want taken out at certain periods. And then they can cancel that subscription halfway through and only get charged half of what they were supposed to pay. So that's one piece. Then we're also doing an escrow system, so you can trade multiple items and have that happen securely by smart contract. There's all sorts of features baked in there that gamers need, right? So.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. So that's actually really good for, I guess, Minecraft server owners. You know, they can subscribe to like a paid premium server for Game of Thrones or whatnot, and they can charge them like even 50 cents a month or something like that, probably.
Yeah, for a rank or a power up that they want on for a certain amount of time, they can enable that. Yeah.
Oh.
And they can do that right in the game. They can subscribe while they're playing the game. They just get that notification on their phone. It tells them the details. They hit accept, and there you go.
Dang. Are there when is the launch for the Android or the iOS app?
I'll have to check our exact roadmaps, but I think our developer is going to be working on that this quarter, like basically to the end of December this year.
Witek, thank you so much for coming, and I hope you have a good time on the project. So
Thank you.
See you next time.